Hi everyone in English 1301, it's Dr. E and I'm here with your week 11 instructional video. We have a lot of ground to cover, especially because the last 2 weeks have been frustrating and I'm not over it yet. So you may not be over it yet either, but we're gonna get through it. I'm going to really try to cover all of what we need to cover in a single video, but be prepared that this might have to bleed into a second because again, we have a lot of ground to cover. So first, what I want to talk about relates to an assignment that you actually will have a video to watch this week regarding the written response assignment. And then it also provides a way to kind of discuss a few things that I've been seeing in the written responses when I can actually give feedback on the written responses. Don't get me started. So I want to cover that and then we'll go into the requirements for this week and whatnot. So I just want us to kind of get a visual and understand what we're going for in this assignment. So you're going to write a few written responses over the course of the semester, which you have done. For these, you will receive feedback, ... And then later in the semester, you're going to revisit these responses, you're going to revise them, and then you're going to submit them along with a little bit of new information, and that's called the writing collection. So sometimes the language can be a little bit confusing, but I want you to know that the writing collection is just collecting those written responses that I'm assigning for that assignment. So this is just a visual. So you have written response 1, which you submitted already, written response 2, which you submitted already. And then you're taking these, revising them after reflecting on them and receiving feedback, again, ... And that will then become your writing collection with a bit more information, okay? So again, more of this will be covered in the writing collection instructional video, so you'll be watching that this week. I cannot stress enough, and this is something that I know is still going to come up. This is not due this week. If you look at our schedule for this week, there's no writing collection. This is just me giving you this information so that you can kind of let it marinate a little bit, so you can kind of, look at the next couple of weeks and see when some of the assignments are due. Some of you can start working on this if you'd like, that kind of thing. It is not due this week. Okay, tell your friends. All right. But I also wanted to go through a few reminders based on some things I've seen in the written responses. So I want you to understand that when you're viewing my feedback, because everybody will have feedback this week, it's going to happen. Some of you still don't have it. I can't express my frustration enough, and I know it's frustrating for you, so just hang tight with me. It's every time I go in to update the feedback, it will let me do 1 or 2 things and then it just stops. So turn it in. I've had issues with turn it in this semester and the previous one. I've had to submit tickets. We're working on it. Just hang in there, okay? So when you're viewing my feedback, I want you to understand if you are picking up on a tone, if I'm just being very straightforward and I'm not offering, little personal bits of feedback, it is not you, it is me. It is really just a sign of the deep sense of frustration that I'm feeling, and I don't mean that to come off in my feedback and comments and my tone there. So if that's something that you feel like you're picking up on, please, my apologies, just know that it's not you, it's me, okay? Everybody's writing so far has been really incredible. I mean, there's some folks where I'm like, okay, we need to do a little bit of work here, but overall, everybody's doing what they need to be doing. So that's awesome. I want you to note too that, sometimes submitting academic work, it's about first impressions, right or wrong. The first thing that I consider when I open a document on my computer is what I see, and what I see is formatting. I don't know if the matrix is a very outdated example for y'all. I see things in MLA formatting. Just like computer people see things in code, I see MLA formatting. So I can see when there's something slightly off. Like if your Word document is not spaced properly, I see it. If it's not indented properly, I see it. So my first impression is not necessarily going to be affected by wrong formatting all over the place, but you want to make a good first impression, right? I don't want my first thing to be going into your document and saying, this is what you need to correct, this is what you need to correct, to make sure that the format fits, okay? So just use templates, do what you need to do to make sure that you are following MLA guidelines. Okay. All right, so quotes and quotations. I want you to really ensure that anything taken word for word has to have quotation marks. If you are taking somebody's ideas and paraphrasing them, you still need to give them credit for that. But know that if you're only changing a word here or there, that's still considered plagiarism. You need to change the entirety of somebody's word-for-word ideas. You need to paraphrase it in a way that looks nothing like the original. So just make sure that, that's why I always suggest just utilize quotes. Just use quotes to cover all the bases. Make sure you're using them word for word, but you need to use those quotation marks, right? All right. Always provide context for quotes. So this is something that I've been seeing quite a bit when we're thinking about Choi's work, and I get it. We see these quotes and we think, that really supports what I'm saying. That's a really good idea. But without the context, you are misusing those ideas. Okay, so this is one example many people use. Something like, in my family, quote, eating is done family style with shared dishes. On the surface, that looks great. But if you go back to Choi's article, there's context to that quote. She is not talking about all people in all places eating family style. She is focusing in on one group of people, and you can't misuse a quote that way, because again, your reader is reading your work and assuming that, oh, this quote from Choi means everybody eats family style. It may confuse readers because they may go, well, I don't do that. So what is Choi even saying? Should we even trust what she says if she says, you know, that everybody eats family style? You have to make sure that the quote fits into your paragraph. You're not just shoving it in there, and you have to make sure that your audience understands what the context is, right? So you have to do some work to help your audience for sure. This is something I've been commenting on quite a bit, and it's understandable. So some of you talk about struggles with organization or keeping your ideas kind of in a certain kind of order, and a lot of that comes down to topic sentences. So I cannot stress enough that having really strong topic sentences can help enormously in your paper. So I want you to really consider these kind of mini thesis statements. They're giving your reader an idea of where they're going with these ideas. So help ensure your ideas are organized and connected. After that topic sentence, every remaining sentence in that paragraph should in some way relate to the topic sentence. So sometimes we write the way we think. And so we may start with a paragraph that, you know, the topic sentence is, I really learned a lot from cooking with my mother growing up. You're sharing your ideas, and then suddenly you're talking about, you know, your garden and how your garden is a reflection of the way you eat. That is, we need a new paragraph, right? And so if we make sure that those topic sentences are really intentional, they are all going back to our overall topic. Our overall topic, at least for written response 2, is your food memory, right? And your experiences. A lot of people were starting with Choi. You know, Choi writes this, Choi writes that. Your goal and the prompt for that assignment was your connection to food and food memories, right? To write whatever you wanted and only use Choi's work to support your ideas. I think a lot of us are in that kind of academic writing mode. So we think, you know, okay, along with sharing a little bit about my experience, I really need to show this research, right? No, this prompt was about you and your experiences, and then somewhere within the paragraph, pulling in something from Choi to support your ideas, okay? Topic sentences help make sure you do that. Each topic sentence, if it relates back to the prompt, your food experiences, then you know you're moving in the right direction, okay? So just something to consider, those topic sentences. It really does help your reader. And sometimes it does mean just rearranging some sentences. There were a few of you who you may have started with Choi in that first topic sentence, and I said, well, how about you make this sentence your topic sentence, right? This is something that relates to you and your food memories, and then Choi becomes support for it. So really take some time to look at your overall paragraph and see if there's anything to rearrange. In no way, shape, or form am I looking at any of the feedback or any of the submissions and thinking this person needs to completely rewrite everything. No. Sometimes it's just reworking a little bit. It's revising a little bit. I don't want anybody to feel like they have to throw out everything and start fresh. No, don't. So, little details. You know, we have to use last names. So if we're talking about Choi's work and Choi's article, we don't call her Amy. We're not on a first name basis with her. You know, when we're writing about Shakespeare, we're not calling him William. At least you shouldn't be, right? We're not on first name basis with Shakespeare or any other figure. So this is not only showing respect, right? But this is also something that helps connect to the works cited page because you're giving Choi credit for that article. And I'm looking for the name Choi as a last name, which is the first thing that will appear in the works cited, not Amy. This is also in the MLA video, which I ask you to rewatch. Okay. Add because at the end of a sentence to see if there's more information. So some of you had really great starts to a topic sentence or a really great start somewhere else in your paper. And I said, well, more information would really help me. All you need to do is add because to the end of this, right? So I really like gardening. I'm hitting my pencil. Because, and that really helps your reader kind of get in the mind frame of what they're going to read in that paragraph, okay? And, you know, our goal is to really help our audience understand, right? All of academic writing, our goal is to help our readers start from the very beginning, go through and read everything to the very end. It's smooth. Our ideas are effectively communicated. We've inserted that research and supported our ideas beautifully. There's not a lot of stopping on the part of the reader. Every time your reader has to stop and backtrack and ask questions, your ideas are getting lost in the mix. You want everybody to focus on your important ideas. And one way to make sure that that's happening is to take care of those small inconsistencies. Make sure that, you know, for the most part, grammar is taken care of. MLA is being followed. Because again, I read in MLA. If I am reading your paragraph and it's going beautifully, and then I hit a quote and I don't know what kind of formatting it's in, but the quote is not following MLA formatting, that means I have to stop. And I either have to make a comment about it just to let you know, or I have to stop because it's just abrupt and I have to then go back and reread ideas. We want people to start from the very beginning, go to the very end very smoothly and effectively communicating our ideas. Okay, well, I said it would just be one video, but alas, we're going into 2 videos. So go grab a soda, take a little break, come back and watch the second weekly instructional video.